This video is on the topic of the nervous system. The nervous system plays a very important role in the human body. The brain, which is part of the nervous system, has a variety of functions, from learning and memory to coordinating conditions within the body and processing information from external stimuli. As well as this, the nerves, which connect the brain to the rest of the body, play important roles in sending electrical signals to allow us to experience external stimuli such as touch and temperature, as well as controlling muscle contraction for movement. The nervous system can be broken down into two main parts, the central nervous system and the peripheral nervous system. The central nervous system is made up of the brain and spinal cord and acts as the coordinator, coordinating the actions of the rest of the nervous system. Be careful not to confuse the spine and the spinal cord. The spine is made up of bones called vertebrae and is part of the skeletal system. The spinal cord is a ribbon of nerves that runs through these bones and is part of the central nervous system. The peripheral nervous system is made up of the sensory and motor neurons, bundled into nerves that stretch to all parts of the body, receiving signals and sending signals from the central nervous system. Make sure to be clear with your terminology. The nervous system is made up of lots of nerves. Each nerve contains many individual neuron cells bundled together. The neurons are the individual specialized cells that make up the nervous system. There are approximately 100 billion neurons in the human body. Let's take a closer look at the structure of a motor neuron. Let's start by paying attention to the familiar parts that are common for all cells, such as the nucleus and mitochondria. These can be found at the top of the cell in the cell body. The cell body has lots of branching sections called dendrites. These all form connections with other neurons at special junctions called synapses. The long fiber of the neuron is called the axon and ends in the axon terminal, which again is highly branched to form connections with other neurons at the nerve ending. The cells of the nervous system always transmit electrical impulses in one direction, starting at the sensory neuron to the relay neuron of the central nervous system, then ending at the motor neurons. This passage of information is covered in more detail in the reflex arc revision note. The three different types of neurons all have different structures. The sensory neuron is long, with a cell body containing the nucleus in the middle of the axon. The relay neuron is short and highly branched, with an unmyelinated axon. This is important for its role in the central nervous system. Unlike the sensory neuron, the motor neuron has a cell body at the top of the cell. Pay attention to the red arrows here, which represent the direction of the impulse along the neuron. All three types of neurons have dendrites that allow them to connect to other neurons via synapses. In summary, the nervous system is made up of two parts, the central and peripheral nervous systems. The central nervous system is made up of both the brain and spinal cord, whereas the peripheral system contains nerves with sensory and motor neurons bundled together. The structure of the sensory and motor neurons is that they have long axons. The three types of neurons have different structures, with the motor neuron having the cell body at the top of the cell, the sensory neuron has the cell body off the center of the axon, and the relay neuron is much shorter than the other two types. All three neurons have lots of branched ends called dendrites and nerve endings to allow them to connect to other neurons.